Listen, it's something that we're going to have to adapt to. It is, any cop can't be afraid to make an arrest. You know, I was involved yesterday. I made arrests with my people. It's the last thing on my mind was whether or not I'd be violating that bill, doing what we have to do to make that arrest. I've spoken to all the district attorneys in the counties. They all don't think they would ever be able to prosecute based on that last portion on the diaphragm. So, because it's worded in a way that's just not appropriate. It's legally, it's not enforceable.
So you're saying that the law that the mayor signed, the second part is not enforceable?
That is what has been told to me by the district attorneys. I'm no lawyer. All I know is the district attorneys have thought that they believed it was unconstitutional. I've heard that from a couple of them.
The NYPD challenge it?
That's the unions are challenging at this point. And again, my message to my cops is you go out there and you do what you do every single day. You make arrests. Don't let this weigh on your mind as you're doing your job. If you know what you're doing right, you'll be fine.
So how are you going to train cops if you have to do this law?
We've always trained. It's been part of our policy that you should avoid putting your knee, sit, or stand on someone's back. It's just the idea that the law made it criminal. Because things happen, though you try to avoid it, sometimes it may be unavoidable.
So the police commissioner said today that you reached the point of no return in trying to take away tools from the NYPD. Do you agree with that?
Listen, we have tools, we're going to have to create new tools. There are things that have happened, things that have been taken away, but we are a very adaptable agency. We don't police now like we did in the 70s, in the 80s, or the 90s. We've changed throughout the decades, and we have to change again now. And we have some really bright young commanders and cops out there that are going to learn how to adapt to the new rules. They're going to create new tools. We will get through what we're going through right now. These men and women are the most dedicated in the world. They're going to come up with ways to be able to keep the citizens of New York safe. Listen, we still have our field intelligence officers out there. We still have officers out. A lot of those anti-crime officers are still out on the street in uniform. They can still get guns. I grabbed many a gun off the street wearing a uniform. They can do it, and we will. The strategies are going to be in place. We have to do this, and we have to do it with the communities.
The mayor has said he's working with you on a new strategy for getting guns off the street. What's the new strategy?
The new strategy is working with our field intelligence officers, working with the community, getting the tips, and that's what we do. We work off on precise information. People tell us who has a gun on the street. We need to continue to get that information from people who are out on the community, identifying those who are carrying guns on the street and grabbing them as quickly as possible.
Are you going to take the gang unit and turn it into something else?
The gang unit has been working as a violence team, working on shootings, helping out in the investigations, putting together cases against the gang members who are doing these shootings. Better video canvases.
So is that the new strategy?
That's part of the strategy, not just to take guns off the street, but to build cases against the individuals who do the shootings so that we can put them away for extended periods.
So you take the gang unit and turn it into a violence suppression unit?
Yeah, the violence suppression unit working on cases, casework. And it's what gangs are doing. It's just refocusing them solely on casework. Taking the crews that are doing the violence, tying the cases together ballistically from one spot to another, who's shooting who, why, and presenting a case to either the local district attorneys or to our federal partners.
So do you think that most of the shootings are going to be done by gang members?
Absolutely. The drive-bys that we're seeing right now, they're straight retaliations. You know, they're driving around blocks just looking for anyone that's in a rival neighborhood and shooting at them. So we have to be able to target these cars. The answer is the men and women that are out on the street, getting them motivated, because morale's been low, without a doubt. Going through what we've gone through, what our cops have had to listen to, we need to build those morales up. And that's where we need the community's help. We need marches for the police, saying how much they appreciate the police. We need the community's voice, that silent majority that's out there, that respect the police, love the police, and want the police in their neighborhood to come out there as loud and as boisterous as possible. Of course I'm frustrated. I've been doing this for 39 years. I've watched this city go from where it was in the 80s and 90s. The remarkable turnaround that started in 1994 continued through the decades. 2014, we reformed this agency with people never, ever could have thought we would have done what we did. Reduce arrests, reduce summonses, reduce stops, and still reduce crime, and more importantly, violent crime at dramatic levels.
So when are we going to see it?
Listen, it's going to take time. This is unprecedented, what we've been going through. But the men and women in this agency are great. And it ain't me, it's the people, the men and women out on the streets. They know what's going on. This is their neighborhoods. These are their communities. They live, the majority of our cops live in this city. They are going to find a way to get through this, and we will, as a city, together get through it.
Should the chokehold bill have been done?
Listen, I'm not a politician. I follow the rules. These are the rules that are placed on the table with us, and we will abide by them. It is what we do as a police agency. We don't write them, we follow them, and we will make the adaptations that we need to.
It sounded to me at the very beginning here that you were telling people you were going to ignore, that you're telling your members, your men and your women, to ignore that chokehold.
Not saying to ignore it, absolutely not. What I'm saying is when you're in the middle of a fight, you can't be thinking of that. You can't be thinking where I'm going to put my leg or arms, because it doesn't happen that way. You're fighting for your life many times. When I was out on Brooklyn Bridge with my guys bleeding, they were fighting for their lives. Lieutenant from the SRG on the ground, getting beat up, straddled by a guy throwing punches at him. The last thing the guys are thinking as they're grabbing him off that cop before he kills him is whether or not they're going to be putting their arms or legs in the wrong spot. They had to save his life, and then we expect the justice system to be fair when they look at the entirety of an incident.
So you think that the part that deals with the diaphragm is
Not me, lawyers have told me that. This is coming from district attorneys. I've heard it from Eric Gonzalez. I believe I heard Cy Vance say it also.
Eric Gonzalez said that?
Eric Gonzalez told me in a meeting that he thought it was possibly unconstitutional.
Wow.
Yes.
So are you at all worried that cops are thinking that maybe they shouldn't get involved with an arrest that could violence?
Absolutely not. Our men and women have to go out there and do the job and not think about it. They don't have to think about that law. The justice system will work the way the justice system is supposed to work. We have to go out there. We run into harm's way every single day. We run into gunfire. We run into fires. You're not going to stop doing what you're going to do because maybe someone's going to say you violated by doing something that I don't think is going to happen.
But what if they're worried that they could
If you're going out, a scared cop could be a dead cop. We have to go out there and do our job. We cannot be overthinking what we're doing. If you're causing no harm to an individual to take him into custody, I don't think it's something you have to worry about.
So are you thinking of retraining the entire police?
Yes, we're in the process of retraining the entire police department, hands-on in the police academy, different moves you could take to take a person down, to get them into custody. But we all know the reality, no matter how much we train, things happen in a heartbeat in the city. No one expected someone to come with a cane and hit us over the head as we were trying to put someone into custody yesterday.
Ever thought of getting polo wraps from NYPD?
What was that?
They're called polo wraps. They're like a taser, but shoot like these.
I saw the ball wraps. It's something our ESU looked at. They weren't too happy with it originally. I think it had too much of a sound of a gunfire. So we looked at it. We weren't crazy about it, but we're always looking into whatever other tools that are out there.
So as we stand here, they have to deal with seeing shoot.
It's a tough job, but you know it's a tougher job, the men and women that are out on the street each and every day answering those radio calls. It's them that I give the credit to.
And your message to
Go out there, stay safe, back one another up because this is a tough time. People are willing to confront us. People are challenging our authority. But remember, the vast majority, and I say vast majority of New Yorkers, respect you and want you out there keeping them safe.